Michael Bisping and Paul Felder react to Jon Jones wanting to fight Alex Pereira and not Tom Aspinall. On the Believe You Me podcast, Bisping compares Jon to Jake Paul, fighting guys who he knows he can beat.
I don't know. The fact that he's willing to potentially go back down to 205 to face Alex versus instead of staying with his belt and facing Tom, it starts to make me think he's dodging him. And listen, Jon Jones kicked my ass up and down all over this house, but Don, that's the fight, bro. If you're the best ever, if you are the GOAT, why can't you go beat this young kid?
That is my only issue with it, because you're right, it might be the most genius piece of marketing ever to make everybody want it, to make everybody campaign for it like we are doing, right? To have Dana standing there, because Dana at the post-fight press has said, no, he's not making the Alex Pereira fight. He's making the Tom fight. Now, granted, they can't put a gun to anybody's head and force them to have the fight. He could do this, though. He could say, all right, well, you want to fight Alex Pereira at light heavyweight? Well, you're not getting paid the money that you want. And then on Jon Jones' side, he can say, well, guess what? Well, I have the ability to just walk off into the sunset then. So it's kind of one of these.
If you do that, you don't get either one of them, right?
You get neither. Now, my only Jon can do whatever he wants. My only issue is, as a man, as a fighter, imagine you're their size, Paul. Is him saying he doesn't have this obligation to fight these young, up-and-coming, hungry, dangerous guys that have an ability to beat him. I don't get that. That's what my problem is with Jake Paul. Fighting guys that he knows he can beat. Alex Pereira, he has a very blatantly obvious path to victory. He just took down Stipe. He took down Cyril Gane. He will take down Alex Pereira. Will he be able to take down Tom? That's the question. That's the fight. That's what we want to see.
Kamaru Usman gives his take on Ian Garry versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Usman thinks the fight looks good on paper, but thinks it may not deliver, similar to Ian versus Michael Venom Page.
Listen, I like the matchup, but we have a tendency to get excited for these Ian Garry matchups, and they don't turn out the way we think.
Oh, really? Is there some animosity here with you and Ian Garry, Kush? What's up?
No, absolutely. I'm just being honest.
Some shade over there.
No, I'm being honest. Did I not say the same thing against the Michael Venom Page fight? And you were like, yeah, it's going to be exciting. And what did I say? And what did it turn out to be? So, and that's not a knock. It's just the way that Ian Garry likes to fight. Ian Garry is a guy that loves space. He loves to make it look pretty. He loves to run off his combination and move, make it look pretty, to where you have a guy like Shavkat who is kind of a seek and destroy type of guy. He wants to get into the action. So I like the matchup, of course. First and foremost, let's clear this up. They're not teammates. Ian Garry came down here in South Florida as he migrates all over the place, and he did a couple of camps here in South Florida, which I think personally should have stayed. Would have done great for him, but he's still doing great wherever he's going and how he's moving around. Same as Shavkat. Shavkat comes when he has a fight, he comes down to South Florida for camp. He does his camps here. So to say both of them are teammate versus teammate, that's false. They're not teammates. And I think it's a good fight. Shavkat is going to come forward. He's going to try to seek and destroy, as he always does. And Ian Garry is going to move around to create the space to try to find the good strike. So it's a good fight on paper. I don't know how it's going to look on fight night. Whatever happened in practice, that was practice. I done had guys put it on me in practice. But like Mike Tyson said, put them in that arena, you put the lights on them, you have popcorn to all the people around.
He always does it with his head.
Yeah, they can't do it.
Rashad Evans confirms that he's in training camp and boxing Rampage Jackson. Rashad and Rampage fought back at UFC 114 back in 2010, and Rashad won via unanimous decision. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Rashad said, "You'll be interested to hear that I've jumped into a training camp, and I'm going to do a boxing match with Rampage. We're looking to do it potentially at the end of February. It's most likely going to be here in Florida. We're going to do a boxing match. I thought about fighting again, and I was like, I'm 45 years old right now, and I could just be done with it all and just enjoy this phase of my life that I'm in right now. But then I will always wonder if I would have just had that one boxing match for fun, just to try it out. Boxing is something that I'm a huge fan of, and there's nothing better than getting another chance to fight Rampage. Rampage is in pretty good shape right now. He was getting ready for Shannon the Cannon Briggs, so he's in pretty good shape. I want to get a chance to do it again with it. The big difference in me just doing this training right now, with the boxing training, it just feels so much better. I'm enjoying going into training, and my body's recovering faster. I'm not having all the aches and pains. I'm not waking up and can't step on my foot because somehow I twisted my ankle or got my foot stepped on in training and didn't even realize it. With all the wrestling and grappling that goes into getting ready for fights, I've been really enjoying the way my body feels as it's starting to scale up. It's a different ball game. We've got a pretty decent relationship. We've got a level of respect for each other, but we still have fun and we're still clowning each other. I've still got to deal with him trying to clown me, or I'll send him a message and try to clown him. We're fiercely competitive with each other. That's a good thing. After we did the movie Boss Level, it changed our relationship because we finally had a chance to have a conversation, and seeing the kind of person that he truly was and working with him so close on that for a few months was a game changer as far as our relationship. With this fight, it's fun because there's not that anger and animosity, but at the same time, it's still competitive. I'm still competitive. Like if he sees me looking a certain kind of way, he'll say, "Hey, I see you getting ready. You're looking pretty good." And I'll see him hitting mitts or something like that, and I'm like, okay, he's getting ready. It's still the friendly competition, and as the fight gets closer, all the talking is going to come back, so it's going to be fun. I understand just how fragile this time is. I'm 45 years old, and I can't even believe how fast that went. It went so fast that I can't wrap my mind around it. But the gratitude that I have for the experiences that led me to where I've been and the journey I've been on is amazing. But I understand that these moments are moments in time that I'm going to enjoy for the rest of my life. So I've got to savor this. So I'm savoring this piece of candy like it's my last. Ian Garry had a message for Colby Covington today. Ian posted this to his Instagram. It says, "Proof Colby has been ducking me. Joaquin Buckley KO this man for me."
Hey, give me that. This just shows that this ducking me. He's been ducking me for 7-8 months. I signed for the baddest man in the division, and this guy comes out of the shadows. He's a bitch. And one day I'll get my hands on him. Joaquin Buckley, I'm behind you 100% of the way. Go out and put that man asleep. Please and thank you. Do it for me, because he's not able to do it against me.
Matt Brown was not amazed by Jon Jones' performance against Stipe Miocic. On The Fighter vs. the Writer, he said as bad as he looked athletically, he looked his age also, referring to Stipe. I say he looked past his age, to be honest. Straight legs, no hate on Stipe. It just looked like he didn't have it at this point. And why should he? He came in to challenge himself at the highest level with the greatest ever and didn't pass the challenge. This might be a little controversial, but to me, it almost takes away a little bit from Jon Jones. I mean, he beat him almost flawlessly. I gave Stipe round 2, but it wasn't like some demolition or anything. It was almost flawless for Jon Jones, but I wasn't amazed by Jon Jones beating that version of Stipe. Stipe to me looked like he didn't really want to be there. He's there for the challenge and maybe the money. I don't know what his motivations were exactly, but it didn't look to me like he really wanted to be there. Maybe that was Jon too. Maybe I'm taking too much away from Jon. Maybe Stipe was all about it and motivated, and then as soon as Jon threw the first punch, he's like, okay, actually maybe I don't want to be doing this. Maybe we should give Jon more credit there, but to me, it just looked like Stipe just didn't want to be there. He just wasn't present in the moment. He didn't have that fire under his ass. He was just like, if I beat you, I beat you. If I don't, I don't. That's the way it felt to me just emotionally. In terms of fight IQ, it was an absolutely insanely great performance. My knock on it was the athleticism. I don't know if it's because Jon is so much more athletic than everybody, or Stipe's actually declined that far, because Jon could do that to a lot of people who are in their prime too. Jon cemented his legacy. He's the greatest of all time. No one is going to debate that for a long time, other than the PED accusations. That's the argument against Jon. There's not really another argument against Jon. He's the greatest of all time. As long as he stays undefeated, it doesn't matter who he fights, and he knows this. It doesn't matter who he fights. If he stays undefeated, he's going to remain the GOAT. Jon Jones and Alex Pereira reacted to the pound-for-pound rankings. Jon posted this to X. He wrote, being ranked number 2 pound-for-pound at 37 years old. I'm happy with that. Alex posted this to his Instagram story. He thinks Jon should be number 1 and Islam should be number 2. Alex wrote, with this change only, I would be already happy. Darren Till was not impressed with Bo Nickal's victory over Paul Craig. On X, Darren posted this. It says, guy has talked so much talked me since he came to the UFC like I haven't fought and beat top guys in there. Be more humble, you ginger tool, cause you're and Hamzat would destroy you. Darren also responded to this clip from Bo on the Ariel Helwani show.
when I watched the fight back, something that was a little disappointing was the commentary and just kind of hearing the way that they were looking at the fight, and it made me feel like they didn't really know what was going on as much, because anybody that I've talked to that are people that I trust and know shoot straight with me, they're like, dude, you like shut that guy out, domination, it was a flawless victory. And to hear things like, you know, DC say, oh, he's not ready for Hamza. And I think he was kind of trying to like be respectful, but also trying to like, I don't know, maybe like set me down a peg. It was just weird to hear. But I just feel like the people that I know that are in my corner who would give me honest, genuine feedback, they're very happy with the victory. I was very happy with the victory. And so that's what I really care about at the end of the day. But it was a little disappointing to hear some of those comments from people that I respect a lot.
Darren reposted that clip. He wrote, "Where's the lie? Ginger Nuts isn't ready for Hamza." And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Sean Strickland taking shots at Charles Oliveira. The first one's from No Mud, No Lotus. It says, Charles takes more risks in one fight than Strickland has in his entire career. The second one's from Dono1307. It says, Sean gonna lose his fan base if he keeps chirping and not fighting. The final one says, that is such a nice goodbye post from Stipe, a reflection of the champion he will always be. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.